playing in the Gator Bowl against Duke. And they had a press conference today. Manny Diaz and Lane Kiffin, talked about how much they respect each other and all, the goofy stuff that is said in bowl game press conferences. And the concept of opt-outs was brought up to both of them. Lane Kiffin said, as of this point, they have not had any. Now, I know people are taking that quote and running with it. I do expect there to be some, not as many as people initially thought. But I do think that if you're taking him at that word where the entire team is going to play in the bowl game, I will believe that when I see it and not a second sooner. You have had some quote-unquote opt-ins. We'll talk about that in a second. Duke, though, has had a pair of opt-outs.
There's no such thing as an opt-in.
I know.
You're already on the team.
I know. But Duke has had a pair of opt-outs at the same position, most notably Malik Murphy, Duke's starting quarterback. The Texas transfer threw for almost 3,000 yards this season and 26 touchdown passes. He has opted out of the bowl game and will transfer again. So he's not going to the NFL. He's just opted out to transfer. And also another quarterback. I don't know if it's their backup or not. Quarterbacks not named Malik Murphy have had very little playing time for Duke this year. Yeah. But for good measure, another quarterback opted out for Duke, who did get starts for them a year ago for a period of time when Leonard got hurt. Also will not play in this game. Hey, Dad, can't you feel the excitement of the Gator Bowl?
That's rough. That's rough for Duke. A chance for a 10-win season. And then you're walking away from that. I mean, I get it, but I am surprised. I guess pleasantly might not be the right word considering who I am, but I am surprised that there hasn't been a stronger opt-out presence from the Ole Miss side of things. I really did think that. I mean, I'll be honest. I thought there was a chance that some guys might opt out of the Egg Bowl. They were just like, we're out. Never mind.
See ya. Now, so we've talked about it here a little bit. I know Chase Parham reported it as well, that a lot of the Grove Collective contracts are either backloaded or have larger payments at the end of the season. And so if you want to get your final payment, you have to play in the bowl game. That is part of the overwhelming majority. I've heard all but one, basically, of their contracts have that in them. So for a fringe guy that's not a first or second round pick or a day 2 pick, that money you can't sacrifice because let's take Jordan Watkins, for example. I believe he would have played regardless, but he announced on Twitter that he's going to play in the game. Jordan Watkins, I think, can make an NFL team next year, but he's not particularly big. He's not going to be the fastest at the combine. And fair or not, he does have an injury history. And so he's not guaranteed to be on an NFL roster next year. And so if his Grove Collective contract has a big payment at the end of the year if he plays in the bowl game, he needs to play. You need that money. You can't just leave it on the table. What I was surprised about was a guy like Trey Amos, who some mocks have him going late first round. A lot of them have him second round if he tests well, which I think he will. He could certainly test his way into the first round. He has decided to play in the game. And that one, you mentioned pleasant surprise. That one was surprising to me in a good way. Because a guy like him can afford to not get his last payment. In fact, that there are a lot of NFL agents, the dirty little secret about how this works, will pay a player what they were going to get to not play in the game. They will some agents will financially incentivize players to opt out of bowl games. Now, some agents can't afford that, of course, but some of them will do that.
Yeah.
A guy like Trey Amos could have gotten some assurances to make up for the losses if he wanted them.
Yeah.
And is choosing to play anyway. I mean, he's got millions waiting for him if he just shows up to the draft healthy, and he is choosing to play in the bowl game. I like that. I know there are some fans that are, quote unquote scared for him, and maybe they limit his snaps and his playing time and tell him to, protect yourself a little bit, especially now that Duke isn't going to have their quarterbacks. But I do like that. I like that a guy like him with the money on the line is, hey, look, I've got one game left with my team. I'm going to play with my team.
Yeah.
And especially being a one-year guy.
Yeah. It's surprising. I mean, there's in this day and age of college football, that is surprising to see. So, kudos to him. Dart was never a question for me. The whole team could have opted out, and Dart would have showed up.
Yeah, Jackson Dart on Instagram, I guess. I don't follow him on Instagram. But
Dart would have just rolled over to the KA house and be like, get on the bus.
We're going.
You're coming with.
Do you guys play in Charity Bowl this year? Yeah. All right, good. Let's go.
You're dressing out. I'll make sure you all get letter jackets.
Yeah. Somebody says the entire Ole Miss team could have already opted out, and Lane Kiffin would still tell you everything is fine. That man just likes to play weird games. Yeah,
that's true too. I mean, I know we got 85 scholarships, and I think everybody other than Dart has said the hell with it. But I mean, it's gonna be okay. I mean, a player's leg could fall off on the field, and he would tell you that he hopes he plays next week. I mean, we'll see. We haven't heard back from the doctor yet.
But yeah, I like that. And again, I would be very surprised. I don't know this sourced, but I would be surprised if Walter Nolan plays. He played the season banged up.
Nolan and Umami Ellen are the two that I would say they're like unlikely to play.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and it makes sense. I don't like opt-outs, but I understand guys like that doing it. When Walter Nolan, in particular, can test his way into, a $20 million contract? Yeah. I mean, that is real money, right? Yeah. And risking that is that would be hard for me to swallow. So yeah. I don't think they'll be at 100%, but there is going to be a lot fewer opt-outs than people thought for this game.